Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar for today. And our main topic is ZTNA, Best Practices, Secure Access for Remote Workforces. First of all, thank you for joining us today despite your busy schedules. My name is Kurt Schumacher, and I will be your host for today. My role at Monitorapp is Product Manager and Support Engineer. I currently hold various certifications and certificates such as the Cisco CCNA, CompTIA Security Plus, and AWS CCP. With how much work I've been doing with the Ion Cloud platform, I'm very excited to talk to you today about its capabilities. But before we start, just a few notes regarding this webinar. First of all, the session is being recorded, and recordings will be uploaded here on our YouTube channel. So if you want, after, you can check out the video again if you need to. The whole session will last probably about 30 minutes. And in the meantime, if you have any questions regarding the topic as I'm giving the presentation, please leave it below in the chat box. At the end, we will have a Q&A session where I can answer any of your questions. Also, if you need additional or more detailed information, you can either check our website or you can contact us through marketing@monitorapp.com for general questions, and also through support@ioncloud.com for technical related questions. Be happy to walk you through any information you might need. So before getting to the main content, I would like to take a few minutes to introduce our company so you can get a glimpse of who we are first. Monitorapp is a security solution provider and has been in business in cybersecurity since 2005, and we are currently listed on the Korea Exchange Trading Board. We started in South Korea, and we now have 2 overseas branches, one in the US and one in Japan. And with years of delivering security solutions to a wide range of international markets, we also provide support to Asia and the Middle East. We have a collection of around 8,000 Korean and international references. Here, as you can see, there are clients within South Korea that I believe you have already heard of, such as Samsung or LG. But we also target clients in the public sector. So we have clients with government agencies and universities. We started to go global in 2011, and since then, we have been doing our best to gain more global clients through our global partner network. We are strong in the Asian market with various partners in the region, and of course, since we have our branch in Japan and the US, we also have American and Japanese clients. Monitorapp has 3 main categories for our products. The first, here on the left, is our physical and virtual appliances. This includes things like our AI WAF, our AI SWG, and our AI SVA. These are either physical devices, or we have virtual versions that you can install on virtual machines or in CSPs such as Microsoft Azure or AWS. The second is our cloud-based platform, which is Ion Cloud, which will be our topic for today. And very specifically in that, it'll be secure remote access. And then lastly, we have our own cyber threat intelligence branch called AI Labs, which you can check out their website, ailabs.monitorapp.com. So with that, we can get started with our main presentation. Let's get an overview of what we're going to be covering today. So first, we're going to go through why is it that you need Ion Cloud to begin with. Then give a short preview of what the platform actually is. Then we'll go into more detail about the secure remote access service. Then we'll get a review of the features and benefits and look at some of the configurations you can use for your organization. So part 1, why you need Ion Cloud. The first and most obvious reason is how mobile workforces have become. Work from everywhere has put employees outside the business boundary of the office and beyond the traditional control perimeter. And this also is true for applications and where servers are located. There's also the issue of VPN backhauling, where the security stack would take place at the headquarters or internet data centers near the regional headquarters. This model doesn't work anymore because resources are no longer located at headquarters or these physical locations most of the time. Production environments are multi or hybrid cloud environments. Also, the attack surface has greatly increased, for employees have diverse access points, use multiple devices, utilize the cloud far more for things like SaaS, and employees still exhibit a general lack of security awareness. But the main focus for today is the vulnerability with legacy VPNs and how they have become ineffective for remote workforces, remote resource locations, or a combination of the two. Here we see a depiction of a remote workforce using a VPN client to access a private application at a headquarters. We can also see here how a hacker is able to gain access to the same application by compromising the edge device, which here is a firewall. Now, there are numerous vulnerabilities with how VPNs function, but one of the biggest ones is how, once logged in, users have access to the entire internal network of a company, even when resources are in different locations, such as here, one spot's in the cloud, one spot's is a data center. These locations are often networked together to still appear as one. In the picture, you can see how the employees, once logged in, can see all of the resources. Unfortunately, though, the same is true if an attacker is able to gain access through the same VPN, whether it's through an exploit or having hacked an employee and gaining access through them. However, with ZTNA, we are able to change this by linking authorization to identity and identity to devices. IonCloud can limit the access of applications to only those with specified privileges. So you can see this here. Each employee only has access to the specific applications or resources in their cloud. And to be clear, this isn't as if a user has access to a login page, but they just don't have the password. It's more like the user cannot even get to the login page to begin with because they have to have access to get a connection to that resource. Now, ZTNA is based off of 5 main principles. One is least privilege. You only have access to the things you're authorized for. The second is identification and verification, things like multi-factor authentication or device posture checks. Number 3 is never trust anything. Act as if internal and external networks are the same and apply security policies as if the internal user has already been compromised. The next is micro-segmentation, which we kind of saw from the last slide, but here you can see once you get past the firewall, if a device is compromised, it can pivot to other devices in the network. However, with zero trust, what we do is we do something called micro-segmentation, where these are not connected together. They are blocked from each other. So even if one spot is compromised, the attacker is not able to pivot to new locations in the network. And the fifth is continuous monitoring and analysis. You don't just log in one time. You don't just get a device posture check one time. With every transaction in the network, users are constantly being reauthorized and reauthenticated, and device posture checks are ongoing. Now, ZTNA has only come into the spotlight recently, but the original concepts that led to its creation actually started in the early 2000s, as we can see here in this time graph. For example, in the IT intelligence company, Forrester, they introduced the concept of zero trust back in 2010. However, ZTNA as we know it has only been around for a few years. As you can see here, Gartner announced the concept between 2019 and 2021, and NIST announced the architecture in 2020. And most notably, the US government has decided to implement this architecture just because of how effective it is in mitigating threats. And finally, here you can see a simplified layout of the Ion Cloud ZTNA architecture. On the left, we have the workforce, which could be remote, a branch, a headquarters. In the middle, we have the cloud-based Ion Cloud platform, providing SRA, which authenticates, gives authorization, creates connections, analyzes endpoints, creates secure tunnels, etc. And on the right, we have the private applications and resources that users are being connected to. So we can see here how our security challenges are being met. Before, we had inadequate scalability, high cost and complexity. Our networks were not suitable for hybrid environments. We are easily exposed to attacks through open ports and web servers, and lateral movement being allowed because of one-time trust verification. And now we have network access with zero trust principles, agile, flexible response, limits to information that users and devices can access based off of their ID and context, and a high level of security by isolating applications and data within the network. Since our ZTNA, or as our product is called, the Secure Remote Access, or SRA, is part of our Ion Cloud platform, let's take a moment really quickly to look at what is the Ion Cloud platform exactly before going into more specifics. Ion Cloud stands for Application Insight on Cloud, and it's a modern alternative to cybersecurity technology. In fact, Monitorapp took its almost 20 years of experience in security appliances and transformed them into this cloud-based security service so that organizations can keep up with the changing landscape of business and technology. The platform itself is based on a worldwide network that creates our Security Service Edge, or AI SSE. By installing our infrastructure in 40 internet data centers across 15 countries, in conjunction with other POP locations, the Ion Cloud platform allows access for users, endpoints, and applications across the globe. By connecting users through the AI SSE, businesses can control policies consistently, regardless of location or device, from a single management console. It is also worth noting that this is just the scale of the AI SSE right now, where we are always continuously adding more locations. Inside of the Ion Cloud platform, there are three main service categories that clients can utilize from it. The first is our website protection. This involves things like our WAP, website malware scanner, content delivery network, and DDoS mitigation. It's used to protect publicly facing resources such as your websites or APIs that your company or organization may have. The second category is our secure internet access, where our SSE protects your internal resources such as your users, your employees, your resources through a bunch of different technologies such as a secure web gateway, CASB, firewall as a service, next generation deep packet inspection, advanced threat protection, and remote browser isolation. And the topic we'll be focusing on today, which is the secure remote access, which is our zero trust network access for a secure connection between users and resources. Something that's also important to note before we get going is the secure internet access and secure remote access both can be agent-based, and they can both use the same agent provided by Ion Cloud. So they can be used in conjunction with each other for even more effective security. And with that being said, let's get a closer look at what is secure remote access. So secure remote access, based off of ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access, is a service ensuring secure access between users and private applications. And the way that works is by creating zero trust encrypted tunnels between users and those applications. And in between, proxying all the information is our AI SSE for Ion Cloud. The users will tunnel to the nearest edge location that Data will go through our internal network and come out at the closest location to where these data centers or cloud services are located. There's two ways to connect to the AI SSE, and the first is agent-based. And we'll be looking at this more in just a moment. And the second way to do it is by connecting branches or locations using existing products such as firewalls or routers and establishing IPsec tunnels to Ion Cloud. But let's take a closer look at the agent, what we call the AI connector. Throughout the presentation, you might notice these little plug symbols with the Ion Cloud logo on it. These stand for the connectors, the AI connectors. And these are the agents that you will be installing in these devices that make our product work. Here at the bottom, you can see the download screen for this agent. And as you can see, it's compatible with computers, phones, tablets, and servers with all major distributions. So we have Android, iOS, Mac OS, Windows, and for servers, we have Linux and Windows-based servers. Once you download and install the program for this connector, you will enter the workspace name for your company. Then employees will use credentials provided by the company administrators that either created their account or are using some sort of identity provider. These accounts will have specifically defined accesses to resources connected to them. Once the employee is logged in, they only have to turn on the AI connector by pressing a button. Many employees are already familiar with this sort of login screen, for it looks similar to the preceding VPN login screen technologies. However, it's also worth noting that for companies that supply devices for their employees, this AI connector button can be disabled, and the device will be permanently connected whenever the device is turned on. Users can also check stats about their connection, such as how much traffic have they made, what edge server they're using, and what's the local IP address they have on the internal network. But the agent doesn't only encrypt your traffic and authorize users. It also routes it to the best edge location as well, but it provides posture checks on devices to make sure they meet organizational specified requirements before being permitted access to services. These posture check requirements can be configured in many different ways, as seen with this list here. These posture checks are not a one-time thing, however. They are continuously performed with each transaction. And if any of the requirements are suddenly not met, the user will be disconnected. Here's a screenshot showing how we cover all the major operating systems for posture checks. We have Windows, Mac OS, Android, and iOS. And just using the Windows option, I wanted to show the dropdown of the type of things that you can check off when doing a policy check. So I have things like, is the antivirus on? Are there certain file paths? What processes are running? What's the operating system version, and is it up to date? Are you running with a firewall? Are there certificates being used? What's the AD domain, and what's the device serial number for this device? Behind the scenes, the process looks like this. You have the user with the agent, and they authenticate with an identity provider or Active Directory through the ZTNA controller, through the Ion Cloud SRA, which will connect at the AI SSE. Once the identity is established, then access and permissions are provided to the user and through our ZTNA gateway. After performing a posture check and allowing least privilege access through the AI connector installed on the user devices, allowing limited access through application launcher, agentless running in the web browsers, the ZTNA gateway will then establish a secure connection between the user and the private application. And this information can flow bidirectionally from the user to the private application or vice versa. So we talked about installing the agent on the user device, but also let's look at how that would work on the servers. Now, it depends on if you're using Linux or Windows, but the process is basically the same. With applications and the servers that they are located on, you have two options. You can first install the agent directly on the server or the VM operating system. The process is very easy to do and involves installation of the agent for the server type and supplying an authorization JSON provided by IonCloud. That would be these here. And on the right, the other option is to create a gateway, which is similar to the agent, but it will be installed on a separate virtual machine that directs traffic to the different servers. So with everything connected, let's look at and review the features and benefits you will have with our SRA service. The first is that you have the AI connector for clients tying identity to devices. We're also working on an application launcher, which I will be showing you in a later slide that we will be releasing soon. And also we can use identity providers and also single sign-on functionality. We also do continuous device posture checks. We have application segmentation for improved safety. And also we do threat and data protection through virus scanning and personal information scanning. Based on our software-defined perimeter, only users with verified identity and context are granted access to corporate applications. This will not be exposed to public networks because they are provided through secure encrypted tunnels. We have our endpoint device posture check. And again, if anything changes here while the user is currently logged into the system, they will be disconnected immediately. So for example, say that an attacker is able to compromise one of your employees' devices. And one of the first things they're going to want to do is turn off the antivirus software. But the device posture check will notice that the antivirus has been turned off and terminate that connection. This works with identity providers such as Okta or Azure, and also single sign-on. And we also have the option of forward proxying all information from an entire location through an IPsec tunnel to the SRA edge. Here's an example of what it will look like when you have a specific server or resource connected to the SRA. You give it a name, you can give a destination URL, what port, what type of protocol is it using, what users do you want to be able to connect to it, and what policies are you applying to it. In the very near future, we will also be launching an agentless option. This is called our application launcher. It'll provide access to corporate applications in the web browser. This will be released soon. It's in our roadmap, and we will have updates on our website when it is made available. So lastly, we're going to take a look at some of the different configurations you might employ in your network topology. The first is if you install agents on everything. So you have the AI connector on all devices and all servers. Now, this provides low latency and the highest amount of security features because we are linking identity to everything. This has the most granular control, and as of course, we have secure tunneling to all locations. Here we have the AI connector on all user devices, but at an enterprise network location, we have a gateway that's linking multiple servers into one spot. This is still very secure, but not quite as specific as limiting the users to specific servers. It would just be the group of servers the gateway is servicing. Then we would have something like IPsec coming from an office location where all users are bundled together, sent to the IonCloud edge, and then sent to the specific servers. Now, these servers are using the connectors. Now, I can't specify the specific users inside of this office. I can only give permission to this location to these different resources. And then lastly, if I do an IPsec tunnel of the location to a gateway where everyone in this office would have access to everything inside of this location connected to the gateway, but all traffic is still inspected, and also all traffic is encrypted through secure tunneling. To subscribe to the SRA is very easy. You will register users with a local database or make the database yourself. You will apply access control policies to those users, have your users install the agent and also install agents onto the servers and connect them with tunnels, and then start monitoring and managing your organization. So why do you need Ion Cloud? Well, first, we have enhanced security. Second, we have a lower cost and lower complexity because you are using one provider for all of these services. You'll be utilizing the Zero Trust platform, which goes far beyond just traditional VPN. And then lastly, an improved user experience. Because you are proxying your traffic through our SSE network, all network traffic between or inside of the Ion Cloud platform is greatly accelerated because we control the pathways between different locations and we pick the fastest one. So you can get a higher or lower latency, better bandwidth for all traffic. And I just wanted to show this picture here to touch back on something we mentioned, where this Zero Trust, the SRA, can also be linked together with our SIA, the Secure Internet Access, and they use the same agent. So applying both of them together is a fantastic option for our clients, and we've been receiving wonderful feedback about it. Thank you so much for your time listening to this presentation. And now, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so I can answer them for you.